What up, Facebook? All right, this is a self-perfected video challenge. I'm gonna go to my new office. It's nice in here. So imagine this, right? Imagine shortly in the future a setup where um, there's drones flying everywhere, and on these drones you can pack them up and ensure that you have real basic stuff that humans need in order to thrive, such as really high quality food, um, clean water, um, ways to support people to get an effective education. Simple stuff for building shelter, like the stuff that people need in order to have baseline good living. Imagine that because, and I say drones because it allows us to make the distribution channels a lot smoother. That's something that I'm committed to implementing and figuring that out, being part of teams that can do that. However, so let's say we get right all this food and all these basic resources to people, so that no matter where you live, if you live, let's say, in a food desert, or let's say you live in rural wherever, and you don't have enough food, water, access to basic tools and education, so that you can be um, able to exist and live and thrive, in the world, like those types of people are now able to get resources met. Right, we're no longer just confined to trains and trucking and stuff like that. Right, we can really automate this. That's really cool. Right now, here's an important part of this. If people have those needs being like delivered to them, but if they still don't have a basic ability to understand reality and how, like, why we think what we think, why we feel what we feel, why we have times where, let's say, we feel jealous or confused or frustrated or whatever, like, if we don't have the ability to work through that, that's going to be very problematic because you could have all the nutritious food you want and all the clean water that you want, but if you're still pissed because your girlfriend, you think they're texting some other guy, and then you get angry and spiteful, and then it turns into this problem and there's conflict, like that still needs to be addressed. So that's the real point here. Is another thing I'm committed to is supporting every single person on the planet with the ability to understand themselves, like fundamentally, like why do we experience conflict within ourselves? Why do we ruminate and think about stuff over and over instead of resolving it once and for all? Learning how to forgive ourselves, learning how to let go of the past, how to live in each moment, how to be present, how to create the best future. That that's a real education. That should be taught in schools. Oh, guess what? That's another one of my commitments to disrupt the whole school system. I know you can't do this alone, but the school system is not preparing us for a future that's going to look like this. The school system is preparing us for outdated times of, oh, just get a job and expect that that's going to take care of you. That ain't going to take care of you. 5 to 10 years from now, automation is going to take your job. And we're going to be in a position where there's going to be some form of basic income or stimulus or something going out. But guess what? This is what I'm committed to as well. Figuring out how we can ensure that that basic income is done in the best way. Because there's a way that they could give out money from the government that's not best, such as, hey, were you a good person? Did you abide by the laws or not? That way you get your money. And that might sound good in theory, but just look into China and what they're doing. Social credit score, look that up, right? That's what we don't want here in America and anywhere in the world, right? Because hey, let's say it's awesome in America and we really figure out how to do it right, where we maximize freedom, we maximize responsibility, we maximize people's sense of like obligation and commitment to create a better community. Cool. If we just do that in America though, and we don't have that elsewhere, guess what? In the back of our mind, we're always going to need to say, oh, we need a military, we got to protect ourselves, defend ourselves, we got to spread this democracy around the world, and it just becomes this whole jumbled mess. So there's another thing I'm committed to is figuring out how we can coordinate action between governments and non-government organizations so that this same level of getting these basic needs met, food, water, basic health care, education, all of that, so that we can have that in different countries around the world. Because there's different, well, all the countries around the world, because there's different cultures. Certain cultures are going to be more willing to take that on versus others. And this is what is another of my commitments, is meeting the right people in each of these countries that really want to see this through. And over the next years and decades, the next generation of kids figuring this out. So that by the time that next generation of kids, by the time they have kids, they're entering heaven on earth. Where heaven on earth is where everyone's got their basic needs met. And if you want to go above and beyond and you want that a Ferrari or you want 3 mansions or 8 mansions or whatever, cool. Then you gotta create that. However, let's set it up so that no matter where you're born, you at least have the basics met and you're born into a stable environment. And if parents are emotionally unstable, that we can support them so that they can be stable. So that can then be imprinted onto the child, that stability. So that's what I'm committed to. Some of my commitments. I could go on for days. But for those who can hear this and this resonates, let's connect because it takes a lot of us to do this. It doesn't take that many people to do this. I mean, collectively, everyone needs to agree to it, whether it be tacit or explicit. And we just need enough people in key positions that understand how to build systems and businesses and put in the infrastructure so this can happen. And then with automation and AI, we can leverage that to ensure that, hey, let's say you need a different, for you to have good nutrition and develop optimally, you probably need a little bit different foods than I do. Maybe someone needs to be vegetarian, someone should eat meat, and we can find that out with the advancements in biotechnology. You can now see, with more accuracy than before, hey, this person shouldn't eat grains, or this person should eat this, or whatever. Cool, then we can have that set up. And throughout all this, the most important thing is that we have people understanding the basic principle of equality, the equality of our value, so that no human being is better than another. It's everyone's valued equally. That doesn't mean everyone needs the same thing. Don't get that twisted. That's education, is understanding people don't need the same things. So it's going to require a high level of intelligence for us, so we can see that. It's going to require us working through these emotions and all this baggage that we hold on to, so we don't have jealousy or spitefulness. So we can see each other as equals. Doesn't mean you're going to like everyone and they're all going to be your friends, but it means you're at least going to be able to see them, look them in the eye, and say, "Hey, you are me in another life. I respect you for that." That's the world that I'm committed to creating. So you want to join? It's going to be the most fun thing ever to create. It's going to be the best thing. It's going to be the most amazing thing for you as an individual. If you can see the bigger picture here, what's the alternative? Right now, we're headed full speed ahead into a world where it's more and more control, more of this problem, reaction, solution, BS, more of these pandemics, these lockdowns, the variants of all this stuff. Like, that's going to keep happening. And so it's on us who can see this to stand up, take a responsibility, support each other, understand what each other are committed to as well, and then to align that and work together, and then work our way up within the system and get into politics. It's not enough for just a few people to get into politics. It's groups of us really understanding this. So you'll see it over the next few years. I encourage you to join sooner than later. It's a fun adventure that we're on, but it's the most important thing that we could possibly do. So that's all for now. Here, there's your dose of Teddy for the day. What's up, buddy? You got your ear folded over. Get that. Yeah, there you go. Look at him. He's liking living out here. We got a little more land now. He'll come and chill with me sometimes. All right. That's some of my commitments. What are some of your commitments? Leave a comment. Till next time.